everyone, and welcome back to Wrestling Forever, the alternative podcast that takes the alternative look at the world of pro wrestling and the universes that surround it. It's Billy Kirkwood here with, oh, look, there he is, the host of the number one Celtic football podcast on the planet.
I mean, statistics might go and suggest otherwise. I mean, there'll be people that won't be happy with that, but on YouTube, yes, YouTube with the number one channel. Just to raise it up.
I haven't heard of any other podcast. Frankly, they can suck this bag of dicks that I got for Christmas, and I haven't started working on them yet, so plenty of fresh ones in there for you. Right, we are going with So Much to Uncover, first episode of the new year. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the response to the little bonus episodes we've chucked in as well. Particularly, we enjoyed the tier level stuff. I think they've been lots of fun. Your one in the stages was brilliant because
it's nice to change it up sometimes and just dedicate time talking about certain things. I mean, I am buzzing to be back doing just one of the normal flagship episodes today. Yes. Must be said, but yes, it's nice to see people receiving all forms of content well, Billy.
And we appreciate that. Don't forget, we are now in audio form on Spotify. And of course, you can always watch us and just hit that share button. Tag a pal that likes wrestling. We're trying to take it over one heat at a time. Right. It. On that note, we're going to chuck into one of our regular features. It's I Know. This is where we look at some of the good bits and bad bits, and it can be anything in the pro wrestling world. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start off with a no, Ryan, if that's all right.
Oh, that's all right, because that'll swiftly go into my no, which I wanted to start with today. So I guess we can get the negatives out the way. All right. On you go, Billy.
That's it. I'm going to get one of the things is misinformation about how Raw did on Netflix on Monday. Fuck me. There is so much of it out there. I did see one thing, and I did see one thing trying to claim that Raw had got less viewers than AEW had this week. Which is utter bunkum, is utter pish. I think one of the final figures that I had was something like 4.5 million, and that wasn't taking into account some of the live territories where it's still streaming live on TV. That didn't take some of the things. So there's a lot of eyes, whether you like it or not, on Monday Night Raw this week. And the fact that there was so much fucking misinformation out there was mind-blowing. Did you see any?
So I was just about to get up the actual statement because I realised that Netflix themselves, they have launched an official statement on the number of viewers there was. And as you were saying, I think that in Netflix alone, there was something like just close to 5 million worldwide, which included something like 2.6 million in America. Now, that was the official Netflix numbers, but you're right. There was so much misinformation, Billy. And I've seen post after post after post, which was trying to claim that it was this many, it was that many. There was somebody saying that it was like 400,000 viewers, and I'm like, I mean this with all due respect to the competition, to AEW, to TNA, to every other wrestling promotion that there is, Billy. But you can't pull the wool over anybody's eye trying to do this. It's Monday Night Raw on Netflix. They've been promoting it for close to a year. It was the biggest wrestling show of all time, but some people are very bitter about that.
Some people are very bitter about it. And can I say one thing as well? Like, you're doing a horrible job of getting I think that's what probably annoyed me more than anything was how transparent and how bitter it actually came across. Look, all you need to do is look at social media and see the reactions to it. I mean, like, I think I said this in our Netflix kind of aftermath show is, look, pals that I know that were comedians or working loads of different things, it was like the fact that I saw so many people talking about it on social media more than WrestleMania. I'm going to come out and say it, more than you would see at WrestleMania or SummerSlam. More people just talking about it. People making sketches about watching pro wrestling. Although a lot of the sketches were, oh, this will be fun at 1 o'clock and at 10 past 1. So quite a few sketches like that.
That's the interesting thing about it, though, because we are talking, and I'll rhyme off some of the things that were published in a moment, some of the statistics that were published, right? But the live viewers were 4.9 million, apparently, on Netflix alone. 4.9 live viewers. That's not even taking into consideration everybody around the world who can't stay up to 1 in the morning watching it, who had to watch it the next day. I'm going to go on an assumption that with playbacks and stuff like that, that this probably got closer to 10 million views worldwide by the time people in the UK, Europe, Australia watched it at their own convenient hour.
It's a different world. Like, you've seen that here where well, like Doctor Who, for example, going like, oh, Doctor Who only had 4 million people watching it, but then another 2 million people are rewatching it. Then, I don't know, another 2 or 3 million people are watching it over in America. The show isn't in trouble. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but why take, it used to get 17 million viewers. In 1984, when there was only 3 fucking channels. Shut the fuck up. No, I'm getting sick of that negativity. Just to be, it's somebody screaming at the bottom of a well. It's just to get attention.
Yeah.
Terrible way to describe that.
Well,
but you know what I mean.
That is what the online space has become, and it ties into some segment that I want to start later, but I won't give too much away. But to bring back the positivity, Billy, this is where people are just desperate for one company to fail, and WWE marks are just as bad because they want AEW to fail so desperately. Both shows, both products are doing well in their respective ways at certain things. The Netflix, sorry, on you go.
No, I'm glad you brought up the AEW thing. I am getting sick and tired of pictures of empty arenas or whatever it is, and people putting up clips going, "Oh, look at that, no reaction," followed by the meme of Roman Reigns going, "No pop," and all this type of shit. I'm getting really tired about that. Netflix, I beg your pardon, AEW just signed one of their biggest deals. Let's get behind the company. They're working hard. They're in a transition period, and that is not the good time to be launching new stuff and what have you, but I remain to be positive about AEW. I really, really do. I think I can't speak too much for it because I am struggling a bit with it just now, if I'm completely honest. But, you know, they've got Edge back. They've got some cool things going on.
No, they've not. They've got Cope back.
Oh, don't even get me. Right, I'm glad I forgot about that. Because
we'll come back
I know we're only doing one. No, but what the fucking Cope? Nope, is what I say. Fucking it is. What the fuck, man?
I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's I get that he's been used to being a one-syllable wrestler his entire life, and that maybe he likes it, but it doesn't do it for me. Alas, Billy, alas. Would you like some positive stats about the Monday Night Raw stuff?
Please,
right, this was in the official Netflix statement that they released last night. So I already got down to the part that they said 4.9 million live views globally. So basically 5 million live global views as the program was airing. Averaged 2.6 million households in the US, which is obviously a strong number, 116% higher than the average of the 2024 audience on the USA Network, which was 1.2 million. It was trending for number 1 on social media for 14 hours straight in the UK, and was one of the top 7 trending topics in the United States. It was number 1 in Brazil, Mexico, Spain, and the US on the hashtags on Twitter. And finally, I think one of the biggest ones that might go under the radar a wee bit here was the fact that, I don't know if you've checked, and I don't know if it still is, but on the Netflix most watched shows, Squid Game ain't number 1 anymore. Monday Night Raw has overtaken season 2 of Squid Game, which is huge when you think about it. The number 1 trending show on Netflix. I don't know if it still is as we record this episode, as it goes live, but as of last night, when I checked, Raw was number 1.
You know something? Not a lot of people are going to go back to watch Squid Game. Not a lot of people are going to be tuning in that number and that volume next Monday. This is going to be a regular thing. Yeah, those numbers are probably going to fluctuate, right? You're going to see probably maybe less people watching live, at least in Europe or in other parts of the world. But Monday Night Raw is strong, man, and it's on Netflix, and I hope it continues. I hope AEW does better as well. I hope those numbers get up in max. I hope the arenas fill up as well. Start doing the smaller arenas. They just fucking look better. What do you want me to say? 4,000's a good number. It's a great number. If you're getting that when you're dwarfing TNA, just fucking get on with it. That is some positive, negative. That might be my negative and my positive right there. That might be my iron.
Both of them.
Maybe I've done them both at once. It's never been done. But you have a little glimmer of negativity you want to get out of the way first. So what's yours?
Yes. So I don't. This is fresh off the press. This is broke in the last half an hour. So I don't even know if you've had the chance to see it yet.
Shit.
May I add that it has come through the one, the only Dave Meltzer, who we know nowadays is famously wrong with most things, but I think for once he might be right if you go off what happened on Monday Night Raw. So it kind of ties into something that happened on the Netflix Raw, and we touched on it. So we hated the whole Dwayne segment, didn't we? We hated the fact he came out, acted all babyface, was best friends with Cody Rhodes, drinking tequila with him in the back. It was horrid. And it seems like there might be a reason for that, because according to Dave Meltzer, the plans within the company, they have scrapped The Rock versus Cody Rhodes from happening entirely. It looks as though it's not going to happen, definitely not this year, and I assume that might mean ever, because surely Dwayne ain't got long left being a professional wrestler. I have this as my no. And it's not even because that I was so hungry to see Dwayne versus Cody, right? It's not as if that was a make or break match for me, but the fact that they spent the entire opening quarter of 2024 clearly indicating that there was going to be unfinished business between The Rock and Cody Rhodes. The fact that they had that face-off the night after WrestleMania. The fact that The Rock tried to kill him in front of his own mother. The fact he tried to kill him outside of his tour bus. The fact that he was doing all these things to try and stop Cody Rhodes from becoming WWE Champion. And there is no further explanation to the story other than we're all buddy-buddy now and the match is scrapped. I thought it was a match that would have been great. It would have made money. They clearly had chemistry working together. And I'm quite sad to see that it's apparently not going to happen now.
Yes, that sounds terrible. But it might just be one of those big wrestling what ifs. What if Hulk Hogan had wrestled Steve Austin? What if Hogan versus Flair had headlined WrestleMania 8? What if? None of them are happening. I was never delighted with The Rock coming back and doing this part-time bullshit. Loved what they did going into Mania last year. But even on the second night when he was kind of involving himself in the main event, it just felt kind of tacked on. And there was that fucking stupid thing. It looked like he apparently had a lot of fun in NXT the next night. He was,
and to be fair, I enjoyed that wee promo, the glimpses of the final boss that he kind of showed throughout it. It was better than what he'd done on Raw, but it still once again furthered the idea that he's back as a face and that the whole story of what happened in 2024 is just non-relevant now. It's just there's no relevance to it.
I guess just with the way it's ramped up on Facebook, maybe it's become more clear that The Rock really can't physically do somewhat. You've said it there. Time might be running out. Is the insurance going up and getting him in films? Maybe he needs to be a face so he can remain popular with his other endeavors. No pun intended.
We all know that classic. You've been in wrestling a long time now, doing the announcing for ICW, and you'll know firsthand from calling the matches that famously the faces take less bumps. It's the reason Cena went as long as he did. It's the reason that some of the top faces have longer careers, because they're not the guys that are having to take bumps all the time. It's the heels. Yep. So, I don't know. Maybe there's an aspect of that.
And The Rock, maybe he just wants to be in a more prominent position. I don't know. Meltzer might also just fucking have it wrong.
Yeah. There's every chance of that. There is every chance of that.
And he's got a history in it, so I take these things with a pinch of salt, because I guess it makes sense from a business point of view, and I hate talking about the business. We should be talking about the fun aspect of it, but I guess it makes sense from a business point of view, but can The Rock be punching the air with how that's going to turn out creatively, bearing in mind how amazingly they pivoted last year? What will it take to take The Rock to get kind of like, oh, maybe I need to be a heel? Does he need to be booed in Hulk Hogan-like terms or something? Although apparently Hogan was delighted with the reaction. Sure he fucking was. I don't know about you, but nothing sells something more than somebody going, oh, that tastes shite. It's like, I don't know. But I've got to say, I'm right there with you. It's a boo and a hiss from me. Well, we might just have to let it go. I
think realistically what we're staring down the barrel of here is The Rock admitting to himself, and maybe WWE admitting to himself, that he only has one more in him. And we all know what that one more is meant to be. It's meant to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns. It's the dream match for a lot of people who love the Bloodline storyline. It's a dream match for the history of the company, because these are two of the top guys. I think that if it has come down to the point where, whether it's next year, whatever it is, I think that they've maybe sat down and realised, right, if we only have one more match with him, it's time to pretend the Cody stuff never happened. He's coming for Roman, and when it happens, it happens. And I kind of feel like if Dave is right, that's maybe what has led to all of this.
Can I field another possible suggestion?
On you go.
So we've got this brand new audience coming in. We've got this returning audience. Are they reintroducing The Rock as a face to us now?
Perhaps.
So it means something when he turns later.
Yeah, potentially.
You know, are they making this because everyone knows The Rock from his Outside Endeavor? Oh, fuck, look, there's The Rock. If he was a heel, would we be going, well, Dwayne Johnson's a fucking arsehole? No. This is The Rock, you see.
Yeah.
But the casual viewer might not necessarily know that. So it might be somewhere in the middle. I'm fielding it as a possible answer.
My thinking would be, no matter if it's Roman, Cody, whatever. As I said, I think this is all leading to Rock and Roman happening at whatever point now. Maybe there is going to be a kind of second heel turn, like, oh, I pulled the wool over your eyes. Hello, casual viewers. I'm actually a dick. You know, that kind of thing. It looks as though that might be what they're leaning towards. I think you're right in maybe what you're saying there, Billy.
I'm just, I guess it would make sense from a business point of view. But anyway, right. What is your positive, my friend? I would love to hear it.
My positive is, do you know what? This might split some opinion. This because he's one of these guys who in recent years has split the opinion down the middle, I would say. I am using my eye on Aleister Black or Malachi Black potentially being back in WWE sometime soon. Now, that's not a fuck you, AEW, because I think that AEW have a very good roster, and it's a roster that Malachi Black has certainly found himself lost in the shuffle of. Yeah. And I'm not even sure that necessarily guarantees his return to WWE, necessarily guarantees him standing out and not getting lost in a very talented roster there. Yeah. But it is about time that he departed from AEW. The last 2 years in particular of his AEW career have stagnated his career quite heavily, I would say, and I don't mean that in a nasty way, and it's not his fault. I think it's down to the way he's been booked. There was that horrifying stat that up until maybe, I think it was something like 6 months ago, he hadn't had a singles match in over a calendar year on AEW television. And for somebody of his caliber, for somebody as good as Malachi Black, he should not be out of singles matches for over a calendar year. Now, I get it. They have that fantastic House of Black stable with some great talents in it, and obviously focusing on the trios titles, tag titles, whatnot. But Malachi Black is the kind of guy that I want to see wrestling himself a fair whack. So my eye is, I mean, the reports seem to be suggesting that he is done with AEW. He's winding up now, and it is all coming to an end. There was a report that he was signed through until 2027, but Fightful say that looks as though that's not the case, and this year might be the last. So, yeah, I think it's good for him, and I'm excited to see what happens from it. It might not even be WWE. Who knows? He'd maybe go to TNA. He could maybe go round the independents again for a while before landing on his feet elsewhere. I'm just excited to see him free from the shackles that have kept him down for a year or two.
Well, you know, the thing is, I love the House of Black stable, and
Same.
I'm going to say something that's going to make me sound like a bell end, but I'm just going to say it. Not everyone can be in the main event.
Yeah, cool.
Not everyone can be wrestling for those big titles. He never really got a proper shot at the AEW World title, and I think a lot of people felt like that's where he should have been because it's so fucking good. And he came in with like a house on fire, and they were building this faction, and it just didn't seem to go anywhere until they were in the singles title picture, where they had some good matches and some interesting stuff, but it always felt like, yeah, I take on board. Great character. You're always excited to see him on TV, but we never got to see Tommy End's full potential. And I would love to see more of that in WWE. What they would do with him this time round, I don't know. There was times, fucking hell, the whole sitting with the knocking on the door thing and all that. Fuck me, when he went to the main roster. I went on for weeks, and then an interesting and inventive idea, but it didn't really go anywhere.
He was one of the victims of Vince McMahon, wasn't he? The fact that he was so hot in NXT, which was clearly guided a lot by the workings of Triple H, to then go to the main roster and Vince had a completely different idea. I mean, it happened with many of them. Didn't it happen with Andrade, Karrion Kross, Bobby Roode? It happened with a lot of those NXT champs. I
will say, though, with Aleister Black, they bizarrely put him in a tag team with Ricochet, which I never fucking understood either.
Mania 35 together in New York. I remember that.
I think in a week they might have wrestled for every championship technically, and didn't win one of them.
Yep.
So
It's insane.
there's a problem in there somewhere, I would say. If he comes back, you know something, we're in the Netflix era. Tommy End, and I've known Tommy all the way back since the Sumerian Death Squad. Very inventive, creative mind, maybe with a little bit of flow, a little bit of darkness that we could potentially see. Hey, Tommy, I beg your pardon, Aleister Black having some business with the Wyatt family. Wouldn't hate to see that, to be honest. It would fulfill the old goth in me. I could have phrased that better. I think we all agree. But
well, do you know what? If there's an old goth in you, that's completely down to your own choices in life.
Rumor has it. But no, I think that would be great. I think that would be great. I look forward to seeing that his work, wherever he ends up. A little run in New Japan could be great.
Yeah, exactly.
Presented
One of
as
the
a
names that I missed
superstar.
out.
And with Wrestle Kingdom, and I was going to get onto one of my eyes was actually Wrestle Kingdom because I really enjoyed it as a my eye would be Wrestle Kingdom. Just to tie into that, just quickly, I really enjoy Wrestle Kingdom every year. This year it felt a little off because they weren't filling that big arena, and obviously
Can I see before you do talk about Wrestle Kingdom, because I'll forget this point entirely.
Please do.
It's nuts, that, isn't it? And I don't know if it's because since COVID it's not properly recovered to the extent that they once were able to fill out that arena and whatnot. I don't know what the exact reason is, but it felt a bit strange, and I miss seeing that Tokyo Dome packed with I'm pretty sure back in 2014, 2015 onwards, there was 40,000 people in that place, wasn't there? And it was a big change, big difference.
They've lost a lot of stars.
Yeah.
They've lost a lot. Okada is not there. That's fucking mental.
I always come back to the point of and I get that people will point these things out. I just appreciate for what the product, for what I'm watching the ring. At the end of the day, the crowd is a bonus, but I'm not the one that's focused on filling those seats. The wrestling landscape has just changed so much since AEW came along, and that's not a dig on AEW, because I'm glad that they came along. I'm glad that they've kind of spruced up the business in the way that they have, especially at the top end of the business. Yeah, but it has obviously affected New Japan. It has obviously affected a lot of Ring of Honor and TNA and all these other companies, because there's a place in town now for these guys who would thrive in these scenes to actually go make big money and be on television, where there wasn't a place for them before 2019 to do that. WWE weren't interested. Vince McMahon wasn't interested in Okada, wasn't interested in all these stars that were coming out of Ring of Honor, New Japan. Yeah, there was the odd few, Kevin Steen and obviously El Generico and guys like CM Punk, but the majority of them didn't have that place. But AEW filled that void.
Yeah, and that isn't a slant at AEW at all. It was a positive because, again, I enjoyed the show. It kind of comes, my eye and my nose are very connected, because there was a lot of negative publicity online about it, going, oh, the place is half full and all that. But go watch the show. It's a good show. It's good. It's a good show. The one thing that it does come across is it's lacking homegrown stars for New Japan Pro Wrestling. They've lost a lot. They've got a couple in there. Obviously, we've got Gabe Kidd, who's kind of their top gaijin at the moment. I've always thought Gabe was just fucking phenomenal. I remember him wrestling for ICW, and I think I commented that he reminded me. He had a kind of Dr. Death, Steve Williams, kind of Terry Gordy kind of thing about him. And he messaged me to go those are my fucking guys. Thank you so much for putting me over. And it's oh, dude, I was just calling it as I sees it. You know what I mean? It just had that vibe. And because he's got that kind of fucking pissed off attitude all the time, I like seeing that. I like he's more interesting than what John Moxley's doing just now, I think, which is a millionaire being grumpy. And and it's hard to, but I loved it. I thought it was a great show. I'm tying them together, but a lot of negative information out there. If you could all just agree that, I forgot her fucking full name. Is that fucking no terrible? That's terrible.
Whose name have you forgot? Who you talking about?
Oh,
Mercedes.
Ash. She's Ash. And I'm saying
They're not a fan. They're not a fan. She's
I've never bought what everyone else is buying. I've just never been. She's had some great matches with Bayley, great matches with Charlotte. Okay matches outside. I've just never seen it. I've never seen the millions and millions of pounds. I just always get the feeling that she's not giving the effort and kind of secretly doesn't want to fucking be there. There you go. Once you be back in WWE, that's how you get the Star Wars gigs.
Yeah,
That's how you get the Star Wars gigs.
That is, and it's just truth, isn't it? And I don't say that in a bitter way or anything like that. I feel like I need to clarify that every 5 minutes that I'm not against any particular individual or company.
Well,
or
I am. I'm very much.
I just, you know, I like that. Talking about individuals, could I, before we move on to the next segment of the show, whatever, I don't know why I didn't. This was going to be my second eye if we done 2 eyes and 2 no's, because it ties into Wrestle Kingdom, and obviously there's Wrestle Dynasty and all the rest of it, right? Kenny Omega being back in professional wrestling is huge, and I just want to cover that so quickly before we move on. I have missed Kenny. I love Kenny. He's obviously one of the greatest to ever lace up a pair of bloody boots. And all I can say is, if Tony Khan has any brains, which I know he doesn't because it's sponge for brains that the guy's got, it's fucking nothing between the ears. If he's got any brains, the year 2025, hitch the damn wagon to Kenny Omega for a good portion of it. Build your fucking company round Kenny Omega. Get some stability back. Have this new era mean something. And if there's one guy in that company that means something to wrestling fans around this world, it's Kenny fucking Omega. Hitch the wagon to him.
Get someone to run your locker room, mate. Get someone to run your roster. Get some fucking get some locker room leaders in there, man. Get some shit stability together. We are all behind AEW. Let's fucking do this, man. Let's fucking do this. And great to see Kenny back. It's going to take a little while for him to be the best bout machine again, but he's looking good. His match with Gabe Kidd was fantastic. I would watch that any day of the week in AEW. And yeah, we're also.
I've seen some people talking about how it might be Kenny's best match. I'm like, whoa, huge. And it's not an easy guy to pick his best match with because he's had that many.
No. Kenny that I really enjoy. Oh, that is. Oh, God.
I mean, there's obviously the Okada matches, which are just.
You got to have the right piece. You got the right person to dance with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And him versus Ospreay. Look forward to that. I think the best is still to come, but it was a great match. A great call. Right. A couple of things going to get on to next. One of the things had to be. Well, I had an idea, Ryan. I wanted to chug this past you. I don't know if this has actually been done anywhere, but a wrestling themed restaurant. Right. This is my idea. We are going to get an entire. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to get the entire menu. It's going to be wrestling themed. I don't know what we're going to call the restaurant. It's the Battle Royal Buffet or something like that. That's what it could be. Oh, that's not bad. Actually, we'll chuck that in. The Battle Royal Buffet. I've already come up with some names of some of the stuff that's on the menu. And I open it up to anyone in the Wrestle Forever listenership to chuck theirs in. I did come up with one called the Money Shot Milkshake, which I should say was the name of Val Venus's finisher.
I was about to say, so who's that inspired after? Val Venus?
That's Val Venus. Money Shot Milkshake.
I am scared of where that comes from, if it's inspired by Val Venus. You know.
All we know is he's not working at the moment, so he could be in the kitchen. Let's see, the Chelsea green salad. I like that one. Chelsea green salad.
Makes sense.
Michael Cole's ice poles for the kids. For the kids. But then I had one as well, which was Sonny's D's.
Oh Jesus! don't even. I'm not even going to go any further for
Chipolata sausages, man. Chipolata sausages. That's all. That's what we're talking about, right? But I want more things for the menu. If you're out there, and don't just put a wrestler's name on it in alliteration. We can all do Malachi Black Macaroni. It doesn't really work, right? But chuck them in.
Do you know what I can't stop thinking of now that you said Michael Cole's ice poles, right? See, do you remember that famous? He can't sell them the way that he tried to sell Jolly Ranchers. I don't know if you remember him advertising Jolly Ranchers on Raw, where it was like he was on commentary with, I think it was the Usos, and it was like, Jolly Ranchers, keep on sucking, and Jimmy Uso's just like, what? He can't sell his ice poles like that, Billy. He can't sell them like that.
Well, all I know is, like, sometimes you need to do a read and what have you in radio. Hey, listen, if anyone wants a sponsorship, I can tell you right now, we're the fucking masters of reads here. If you ever want to get a sponsorship, get involved.
Of course.
Just hit us up here at Wrestling Forever. We are well open and more than up to sell out.
I will take whatever you offer.
Whatever you offer. Which, shit, they're back. I don't know what that would be.
You've got me scrolling through the WWE roster page now, just thinking of potential dishes at this restaurant.
I'm not putting anyone on the spot, but we are going to revisit this. I want a full menu. I want
yes.
starters. I want main courses. I want finishes and finishers, desserts. Would you call? I'd say that. Would you call desserts finishers?
I mean,
High
absolutely.
Spots.
As
That's what
long
we
as
call the salads. We call the salads high spots.
just make sure the desserts do not involve any form of like, I don't know. Do you know what? I'm not even going to go any further. Let's just move past what I was going to say.
Breakfast. We could do Cocoa Beware Cocoa Pops.
Cocoa Beware Pops.
Cocoa Beware Pops. Money on the table, mate. Money on the table.
We are printing money here, Billy.
There we
Printing
go.
money.
Seamus's potato scones. That might be racist. Moving on. Right. So one thing I wanted to get to, and we're not getting back to the negativity just yet, right? But we will have a listener challenge coming up in a second, right? As well as our menu, I've got a listener challenge for you. We would love you to hit us up in the comments, as well as your menu ideas. But one of the things you wanted to talk about was our clown of the week. Ryan, explain to us what the clown of the week is.
So I have decided that what we need on this podcast is to single out the absolute idiots that live on social media, and every week I'm going to pick a post that has wound me up, and I'm going to just talk about it, hear your opinion, Billy, hear the comments' opinion, because I'm sure that some people might agree with these opinions, but they wind me up the wrong way. So I will put a post or a picture of the post on screen. There will be a graphic. But for this week, I have got a CM Punk fan girl / fanboy. Not sure if boy or girl, because it's one of those anonymous accounts as these tweets normally come from. You don't know.
Regardless, Ryan, let's get these bastards bullied. That's what I want. Let's get these bastards bullied.
I'm actually starting off light this week. I don't think that this is as bad as some of the things that will come up on this show.
Oh,
Trust
100%.
me, we will get heated. But this was about the CM Punk and Seth Rollins promo the week before Monday Night Raw. Right?
It's great. It was
and I seen a great promo. And I seen a few people bringing this up. And I'll read it verbatim. The post said, "Am I the only one that thought the line about Punk not having kids was too far?" The responses in the replies went along the lines of, "Yeah, creative is so strange for adding that. This has rubbed me up the wrong way. I can understand adding fuel to the fire, but this is strange from the creative. And whose weird ass came up with this? It's professional wrestling. It's no bloody real, man."
I'll tell you this now. If anybody came up with it, it'd be them.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to blow people's minds here a wee bit. See, when you see comedians doing roast battles, right? 9 times out of 10, they have either sat down with a cup of coffee with each other and went, "What can you give me? What would be good to take the piss out of?" But I'm saying it as the guy that hosts Roast Battle Edinburgh. I know that for a fact. They will tell, "I will give you ammunition," right?
Yeah.
This could be something that did happen. This could be something like maybe Seth Rollins went to advice to CM Punk once upon a time, and he went, "Yeah, whatever you do, don't have kids." I'm not having kids. Seth Rollins has had at least 2 kids that I'm aware of. Is it 1, 2, 1?
One at the minute, I think. Rue, isn't it? Rue,
yeah, the little one, the little girl. Yeah. And, that just might be a bone of contention. Maybe something that's always fucking, how dare they say that? I kind of, you have kids that will ruin your career. Well, fucking dare he say that?
Yeah.
It could be something that's just stuck in his craw, and CM Punk is, in his mind, and I bet they cleared the line. And even if it didn't, it's not real. Who gives a shit?
Exactly. It's
in 100 years' time, we're not going to be around. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit?
These are the same people who I guarantee at one point or another over the past decade or so have yearned for the Attitude Era to return. Who have yearned for the edgier promos to return. If they cannot handle a line in which Seth Rollins has said, "You wouldn't know anything about having kids, would you, Phil?" They would not survive 5 fucking minutes in the Attitude Era, because this is light work. CM Punk and AJ Lee's personal life is very, very much understood by a large amount of wrestling fans, because Punk's quite out there. He goes on podcasts, he talks about things. He's made it very clear that I don't think kids are for him. I think he's publicly been out there and said that his kid is Larry. Larry the dog is his child. That is his son.
And he has also made it clear that he has nothing against kids.
Yeah,
I think he's got nephews and nieces and what have you from his extended family and what have you. Clearly, he doesn't have it. It's just not for him. And here's the thing, right? I can tell you, as a father of 3, nothing is more fucking annoying though. People going like, "We haven't chosen to have kids." I don't give a fuck. No. Like, I literally don't give a fuck. Like, I didn't phone you up and say, "I think I'm going to go pump my wife and impregnate her." Like, I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell you that. So
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about if you go 2 holidays a fucking year. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, really, you're entitled to it. And that's what they're playing on. They're playing on. It's a very modern thing as well to do, to have that conversation. You got two guys coming from two different places, as much as the similarities they have. It was a great promo.
And
If you thought it was too much, you're part of the fucking problem.
To take away all of the personal and private stuff about it, right? Let's just leave Phil and Corey's lives out of it. Is it Corey or Cody? Is it Cody Lopez? It's Cody. Let's take Cody Lopez and Phil Brooks to the side for a minute in their personal lives. This is a television segment where they are playing two characters who are supposed to hate each other's guts, who are supposed to despise each other and get beneath each other's skins. Now, why would Seth Rollins, the character, say something like that? Because he hates CM Punk, because they hate each other. And if you cannot handle that watching professional wrestling, I genuinely don't think that WWE anyway is what you should be watching, because it's a television show. The scripts are scripts for a reason.
Look, I've had to work with people over the years that I have not gone with, personally. And but professionally, I don't have an issue with them, and that's what these guys are doing. They are putting these together. They're putting together fantastic stuff for us. It can't just be, I'm gonna fucking beat you up. You're an arsehole. I'll see you next week. Like, come on, they're giving us a bit of color, and yeah, it's part of the problem. Don't fucking. You think it was too far? Maybe you did think it was too far. Well, in that case, you should be wanting Seth Rollins to kick his fucking teeth in, or they're doing their job. If that's how you're feeling about it, they're doing their job. Yeah. Just enjoy the ride, man. Just enjoy the ride. Enjoy the
ride. And don't get hurt over everything that's said.
Yeah.
That, Billy, that is my clown of the week.
It's time to guess the wrestler.
Hey. You can do it.
I believe it's my turn. How would I get 60 seconds?
We're going to keep it at 90. We're going to keep it at 90. And we're going to keep it at 90 because 60 seconds I think it flies by far too quickly.
Look at me, sweating. Look at me.
Yeah, sweating already. That's the thing. So far what we've had is Bubba Ray Dudley. We've done that in week 1. And then week 2 you done what's his name again?
Bunkhouse Buck, which was admittedly a fucking stinker on my part.
And I think we did do a third one, but we've done that many episodes now without doing it that we'll just reset, we'll come back today, and we'll get started again. So the rules are very simple, of course.
I'm wiping the board! You
get 90 seconds to guess the wrestler that I am talking about. It can be from past, it can be present. You've got your questions to try and guess. Let me very quickly open the Wikipedia page of said wrestler, just in case you ask about championships or anything like that, and then I can tell you everything. Right, okay. Wait, let me just check one last detail here. Make sure I get these. Thank you. There we go. Right, Billy.
Oh shit!
Right, here we go. And you already just thinking of names in your head of who it could be.
No, because I haven't a fucking clue. I haven't a fucking clue.
Are you ready?
Stinker. Yes, sir.
Okay, your time starts now.
Right, are they alive?
Yes, they are alive.
They are alive. Are they male?
Yes.
Right, okay. Have they wrestled in WWE?
Yes.
Are they currently wrestling in WWE?
No.
Right, are they retired?
No.
Oh, right. Are they semi-retired?
They turn up every now and then.
Is it Sting?
No.
Bastard! Is it... Oh, they turn up every now and then. Oh, who the fuck is that? Is it The Rock?
No, it's not The Rock.
Is it Becky Lynch?
No, it's not Becky Lynch.
Is it Beth Phoenix?
It's not Beth Phoenix.
God damn it! Have they held the World Heavyweight Championship?
No, they have not.
Fucking balls!
Here's a clue. Here's a clue for you. They're no longer involved with WWE in any capacity.
Are they in AEW?
No.
Are they in TNA?
Yes.
Fucking cock and balls. Who the fuck is it? No, it's not them. Is it Mike Cardona?
No.
Fuck, right. So we agreed it was a guy. Is it? Is it? What's his fucking name? God Almighty! Is it PCO?
No.
Fuck.
You have 15 seconds.
Are they young?
No, they're not young. They're not young.
They're really fucking old.
Not really old, but quite old.
Getting up there, and are they still actively wrestling?
I don't think they've had a match in over a year. Just turns up.
Fuck! Is it?
Time is up. Time is up. You get one final guess. Now, just to clarify, to age your final guess, because it is hard to give exacts in the time, right? They are technically still active. They are part of an active roster. The last appearance, I think, might have been way back at the end of 2023, but they are still on the roster page. They're still there, and mostly done their work in WWE and turned up in TNA in 2021. So, Billy, your final guess.
Is it Tommy Dreamer?
It's not Tommy Dreamer.
But
you were in the right region. When you said Cardona, I was like, you're in the right time scale of things. You're in the right sort of region. If I was to tell you about a man called Vladimir Kozlov, how would you react?
You can fuck right off.
So
do you know that? You can get a VIP ticket to the Go Fuck Yourself Wrestling Federation. That's what you can do.
What's his name in TNA again? Oleg Prudius. I think it's Oleg Prudius. And up until like last year, I had no idea he was even involved in TNA, but he was.
I knew he turned up once.
Yeah, turned up a couple of times. He's still there on the page, like the active roster page.
Do you know the worst thing is though? The worst thing is, man, that could have been fucking Santino, and I wouldn't have been any closer.
That's Santino's who he turned up with, wasn't it? He reunited with Santino Marella and when he turned up in like March 2023. And then he was helping Dirty Dango at some point towards the end of 2023. Oh, honestly, a guy whose theme song slapped hard in WWE, but sadly he did not in the ring.
Last I saw, he got battered by John Wick. Anyone's paying attention?
Oh, that's right. So he was. That's right. I forgot he was in John Wick.
John Wick 2 or something. I think he gets battered by Keanu Reeves.
If you asked the question, was he featured in superstar action film John Wick, you would have got the answer straight away.
It would have been a weird question to ask, wouldn't it? Just out of nowhere. Has he been in a John Wick film? Billy, for the fucking last time, it's...
Your luck, you then answer Kevin Nash.
Yeah, it's Kevin Nash.
But thank you for participating, Billy. Thank you.
Then I would have been stuck on fucking Kevin Nash the whole time. Fucking Jesus. Let's do some questions, shall we?
Yes.
Take this into touch here. Got some good ones coming in for you. Again, if you ever send us a question, we really, really appreciate it. We always like to reach out to you guys. Don't forget, in the next episode, we're going to be back. I want more of your menu items, wrestling menu items, in the comments below as we build our Battle Royale buffet for the hungry people that are going to come along.
Can I, by any chance, start the questions? There's one that I really wanted to talk about, and I believe that Jeff Hardy touched on this himself. So Palmer Cole asked, would Jeff he doesn't even ask, he says that Jeff Hardy would be on the level or even superior level to John Cena without his problems. Now, this came off the back of, I think, a Jeff Hardy interview where he said if he didn't have his demons and didn't go through all those issues he did in the late 2010s, that he would have been on the same level as John Cena. And look, listen, I'll kick us off. I mean this with all due respect. Jeff Hardy obviously was a fantastic talent in his own world and what he'd done, his style. He was an idol for many. But I am so sorry. No amount of clean days for Jeff Hardy can convince me that he would have been on the level of John Felix Anthony Cena. John Cena is a superstar for a reason, because he was the complete package for Vince McMahon. He was the complete package for the product that was WWE at the time. And John Cena, I think people forget at times, is a world-class professional wrestler, one of the best to ever do it. I'm not saying that Jeff Hardy wasn't good. Of course he was good.
Yeah.
But he couldn't put on a match like John Cena could put on a match. And I think that alone suggests to me that Jeff Hardy would have never been on the same level.
We're talking Pepsi and Coke here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We're talking. It's two very yeah. Maybe they would have been contemporaries.
Yeah.
But I just think in terms of they're connecting to two very different types of cultures and two very different types of audiences, right?
Yeah.
They just are. They're two different flavors of the same drink. It's just different. I agree with you. I don't think Jeff is an icon, right? And should be spoken about in those terms and should have had more positive runs. But those runs have derailed him throughout his career. Would he have had a longer run in WWE? I don't know, because times change. And under the stewardship of Vince McMahon those last couple of years, who the fuck knows? Because even then, it's like, he didn't lose the US title in like 43 seconds or something like that. It was like a small amount of time.
Can I put it in football in terms that
Please do.
People might... So, in football, you always get your world-class talents. You get your best of all time. Your GOATs. You get your Cristiano Ronaldos, your Lionel Messis and whatnot. And even at your clubs, you'll have your greatest of all time. So at Celtic, we have, your Jimmy Johnsons, your Henrik Larssons, who are considered the greats. Then you have the cult heroes. The cult heroes, players who were great, but they just weren't the greatest. They weren't the players who could take you to the next level. They were just loved, they were exciting, but they maybe lacked in something. That is Jeff Hardy in wrestling terms for me. He's not a John Cena. He's not a Roman Reigns, a Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's a cult hero. And for a lot of people, they can't detach themselves from the nostalgia of Jeff Hardy. And a statement like this, I think people fail to understand the level that John Cena actually was. John Cena was a guy who had the company on his back, main event in WrestleManias, and was the top guy for the best part of a decade. Jeff Hardy could never have been that, and I'm sorry to break hearts, but that's just my honest truth about it.
They went on two very separate journeys as well. See, you guys don't appreciate how hot the tag team division was, and you might go, well, it happened to Bret Hart. Bret Hart was one of the first people that happened to.
Yeah.
Right. That's game changing stuff. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but it's a once in a generation thing. And whatever way you look at it, Jeff Hardy started off in the Attitude Era. John Cena started off in the Reckless Aggression Era and was just the guy to hook the company to. Why wasn't it? I'm trying to think of guys that would have been around when Hulk Hogan's time. I'm sure there was other people that went. Why wasn't Roddy Piper the guy they went? That's the guy we're going to put it. It's different journeys, man. It's different journeys, both iconic. I think it's a great multi-universe idea, but I just feel that it wouldn't have connected in the same way. John Cena also clearly does a lot of work on himself and what he does outside of the wrestling ring, and a lot of that goes towards it as well. And if that's not something Jeff is interested in, you're never going to find yourself in that conversation. That's it.
No, and it's not once again not a matter of disrespect to Jeff Hardy,
not at all.
who I have a hell of a lot of respect for, but outside the ring, John Cena conducted himself in a manner that allowed him to be the top guy.
And that's why he's in Hollywood movies now as well.
Yeah.
So, moving on. And also, Jeff Hardy cannot sing. Moving straight on. Just saying it as I speak. I remember when he started doing his own intro. That worked out well. Right. Couple of ones in. Chris has sitting on Chris Horrocks had said the Judgment Day is the worst name of a faction grammatically. It's awful. What's the second worst? Do you know... We don't get a lot of factions. Street Trash isn't great, I have to say.
No.
Street Trash is not great as a follow-up. We don't get a lot of factions these days. The Judgment Day is actually a bit of a departure, really, I guess, because we have...
Do you know what faction name I really hated?
What was that?
The Core. Like,
I hate the Core.
It was just, and especially because it was spelt like Corre. Like, what was that about? I hated that. I remember it was just so...
I hate the Core. I wasn't a big fan of Immortal in TNA either. I thought that was kind of stupid. I hated and grew to like the Main Event Mafia.
I actually love the Main Event Mafia. You know that I loved that, and the name. I think at first I was like, oh, but then it grew on me.
It grew on me. It really did. Yeah. It really did. I guess the only other one I can think, there was one in the very, very, very early 2000s, late 90s called the Union.
Celtic fans aren't a fan of that one, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. Led by Vince McMahon. Now you think about it, bearing in mind everything that's come since. Vince McMahon was leading wrestlers against the bad guys, and it was called the Union. This is the guy that didn't want a union in wrestling. So now you look at it,
didn't it?
Yeah, now you look at it. Fuck you, Vince McMahon. One more time, just fuck you. And everyone that was involved in that, fucking boo them as well. Couple of other ones coming in as well. Who's going to win both Rumbles? This is Ashley Gourley, who has said they're going with IO and CM Punk. Pick a winner off the top of your head. Who do you think?
Right now, I am sitting on Punk. for the men's, and for the women's, I am sitting on Charlotte Flair.
Ooh.
That's my picks at the minute. But I think they'll change like the weather on the lead up to the actual event itself.
Yeah. If Bronson Reed had been in it,
Oh man,
I might have chucked him in as a wild card. I just got a feeling. I don't need to see Roman win it. It's probably easier for me to tell you who I don't want to win it, as opposed to who I think is going to win it, because I don't mind a surprise. I really, really don't mind a surprise. But Io and CM Punk or Charlotte Flair, all good picks for me. I would love to see Charlotte back on TV regularly.
Have you seen the bookies' favourites now have changed to? For a long time it was Cena and Punk, and then it was Rock and Cena, and then it was Roman and Cena. Right now the bookies' favourites are Cena and Seth Rollins.
Really?
Yep, they're the bookies' favourites. Because the rumour that came out that it's going to be Seth and Gunther for the world title at Mania, so
Really?
that's why. Yeah.
Not excited about it, I won't lie. Not excited about it. And that's where Seth Rollins kind of finds himself a little bit just now. He needs to be involved with something really, really good. If it was, do you know, if it was Punk versus Cena for the world title, and they hadn't got their hands on each other, that'd have been fucking cracking. But I don't know. It's where we are now. Got one more question for you. I've never really known your thoughts on this. You got to call your first death matches in ICW over the last year.
Oh, yes.
So
yes.
Bride 92 has commented death match wrestling. Thoughts and opinions.
I like it when it's done well and not overdone. I think that when you get a good death match that you are taking in for the first time in a long time, it's really enjoyable. And I think that's what ICW's done really well recently, is like ICW obviously built its name in the mid 2010s for being the extreme, like the blood pouring out of everybody. And since I've came on board especially, it's like not every match I'm calling is Jack Jester bleeding like fuck, you know, and I like that. I like that we get a good balance between the wrestling that we all know and love and we watch on television, and then you get something like Jester versus Kenny or whatnot, and there's blood and there's something. I like deathmatch wrestling when it's done right. What I'm not a fan of, and this is something I'm not aware that ICW has ever leaned towards, but I'm not a fan of the over-the-top American-style deathmatch wrestling where it is just like people genuinely risking their lives for the sake of it. For nothing. I'm not a fan of all of this jumping off the roof of a building and landing onto fucking concrete blocks and like nearly beheading yourself with a fucking guillotine or
shopping trolleys made of light bulbs.
It's like the montages or the compilation clips make it look fun, but I wouldn't be in the crowd for that.
I'm right there with you, man. It's I need a good story. I need excitement. If the crowd, trust me, I have called some boring death matches in my time. Right, I'm not throwing shade, but the crowd have known it, and it's not been at the pace that it maybe needs to be. Again, I'm not throwing any shade on anyone. They've still been enjoyable, but the to keep that level of energy up is a gargantuan thing. And the wrestlers that I've called outside of ICW, I should say for the record, before anyone wants to throw any shade at it, they have been outside of ICW in general, and I'm not just speaking because it's our home company, tend to bring a great element of excitement and storytelling to it. I need that in a death match. I don't have an issue with it. I really don't. If that's your way, your art is put out there, but it does need thoughts in it. I see a lot of sloppy and lazy stuff in backyard death matches, which is utter fucking horseshit.
That's what I'm on about.
Yeah, some fucking crap out there.
At the end of the day, wrestling's an art form, and everybody, it's interpretive. If you enjoy a certain genre of it, you can't be told that you shouldn't enjoy it. It is interpretive, but there's just levels that I'm like, oh no, that's too much.
if you let's put it this way, if you're unable to recognize that maybe it's not as good as it could be, then you're never going to develop as a talent. And that is where a lot of that shite comes from. I'll come out and say it in deathmatch wrestling. Again, you might go, oh, well, it should be a love of all deathmatch wrestling. Then I guess it isn't. And I think I am a bit of a fan of deathmatch wrestling, but it needs to be done well. If it is shite, there's no story. If it's just two guys that look like they worked in fucking HMV smacking each other with like lightning tubes,
LED poles and whatnot.
yeah, man, and it just doesn't go. If it's building up, especially, and look, I've seen some matches where you can tell they're building up to the big, like the whole fucking match, and even then, like they're checking plugs and changing fuses in the middle of it. Just you fucking wait to batter you. It can look really clumsy, and yeah. So that Twisted Pride, great question, great topic.
That's a good question. Can I throw in one last one very quickly before we end it up? It's from my good friend Jake, who I believe was disappointed that I never asked this question in the last main episode. So I apologise and I bring forward your question here. It's a good question. It was my fault. I wouldn't ask it in the last one. I forgot. I watched Raw with Jake. We had a great time, but he's asked here: Do you think we still see Shinsuke as a champ or even presented like this come WrestleMania? Now that he's went to Noah and defended or been in a match with the US Championship, I can't see a world where he stays champ and the Noah partnership is strong enough that Omos is just a Noah guy for now anyway. So come WrestleMania, do you effectively see Nakamura being in the position he's in right now?
I think we need to build more in the presentation around him. Like there maybe needs to be a second or another hand or something like that. We need to build the presentation in the order that he has in order for him to stay. He needs to be defending it week in, week out on television. He needs to be beating, tangible names. But who does he wrestle in Mania? I hear what you're saying. Come WrestleMania. So let's put him on the WrestleMania card. Who's he wrestling? If it isn't LA Knight, who is it?
I think they're in a situation right now with Shinsuke where it's hard to sell a lot of one-on-one Shinsuke matches. I don't mean that with it's just I think when you speak to most wrestling fans, people get a little bit fatigued by him. Yeah. Just something happens with Shinsuke. And I think if he was to be champion come Mania, I don't know, I could see them being like throwing it in a ladder match and having 5 or 6 people involved just so that it's not a one-on-one affair, you know what I mean?
If they do that, he has to win.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to jump on the back of him and say he needs to lose his title because he's barely fucking had it, you know what I mean? He's had it for a month or two now. But yeah, they need to do a better job at convincing us that this guy is the guy to hold a championship.
And I thoroughly agree with that. It's can I see him being champion? I mean, there's a lot of TV, the Saturday night's main events. He can be a big part of those shows, but they need to present him as a big part. They need to present him as a big thing. If he's going to lose the title, then that needs to be a big match, or there's fucking no point. So for him not to be champion by April, which is 3.5 months away, I don't think we should stress too much, because in the modern day wrestling terms, or with the big shows coming up, there's plenty of opportunities for him to not, but they need to develop the feud and they need to develop his aura. If he is the modern day Japanese Undertaker or whatever they're going for, I've no idea. I'm just chucking it out there. We need to build on this a lot more. And to be honest, we haven't seen a lot of him on TV.
I know, I feel like we've barely seen him since he's won the belt.
Yeah, so that could be on purpose. I don't know. We have been seeing LA Knight plenty, and he seems to be making moves that he's still interested in wrestling for that title. Just to make it a rematch and that he wins. It could be a way of pivoting LA Knight into another match, another feud. Because I don't think him and Shinsuke really... Something about it doesn't scream feud to me.
I feel like with every Nakamura rivalry.
Yeah, you wrestled and then...
never feel intensity in it.
I never feel like he hates the person and the person hates him. So that's what I'm saying about the aura. Something needs to change. Otherwise, he will just lose the title and then he'll keep collecting his checks from Stamford and then he'll fuck off back to nowhere at some point. A multi-millionaire. That'll be that.
And you know what? Fair play to him. Fair play to
him. He's not been the same since he got rid of his big side cut that used to sweep out. He's not been the same.
I know.
Not been the same. Get worked on that, Shinsuke. Right. I need to get out here, but of course, a couple of little bits of business. We are going to be at ICW this Sunday. We would love to see it. If you are there, don't forget to get your exclusive ticket, your invite, your collector's edition card, which is not here yet. That's not there. Maybe you can zoom that in or something. I'm not sure. But you'll be able to collect those from us, and we'd love to hear more of your menu items for our wrestling-themed restaurant. Get them in the comments. And as per always, hit that share button, ding that bell, do whatever you can. We'll keep doing this as long as you keep being fucking interested. But bring some pals. Bring some.
Bring them all. Bring them all. I want
Bring
no
it
space
on.
on the couch. I want no space on the couch. I want fucking the place to be packed.
No space, no space. Hanging for the rafters. Should have been here last week. What a time. And don't forget, of course, to check out our very own Ryan Fitzsimons here with his #1 on YouTube Celtic podcast. I'll make sure to chuck that in, and various endeavours that I'm doing. I've got the Glasgow Comedy Festival coming up. Loads of fucking gigs there.
Get a ticket. Get a bloody ticket.
For fuck's sake, come and see me. I've even written new jokes. Look, there's the proof. Loads of them.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Look, there is good. Fuck that guy. I bet his dick has a double chin. It's just as classy as that. As classy as
This
that.
is the kind of guy you would take back to your granny.
Yeah, exactly. Gold, my friends, gold. All that's left to say is we'll see you next time on Wrestling Forever.